What is the deepest command of your soul, the one you obey without knowing it? You think you seek happiness, comfort, a life without pain. But what if that is a lie, a gentle story you tell yourself to avoid looking into the abyss of your own nature?
Happiness? It is the ideal of the herd, a warm feeling for cows, shopkeepers, and women. It is an end, a flat line. And life is not a flat line.
But we all build our lives around it. We seek safety, security. We avoid risk. We want peace.
You mistake the harbor for the purpose of the ship. A ship is safe in the harbor, yes, but that is not what ships are built for. They are built to break the waves, to meet the storm. You say you want peace. What you truly mean is you are tired. Your morality of good and evil is born from this weakness. You praise whatever is harmless because you are too weary for a real fight.
A fight against what?
Against everything. Look around you, not at your cities. Look at life itself. A tree does not seek permission to grow. It shatters the rock beneath it. It pushes its neighbors aside to reach the sun. It expresses its strength. All life does this. It does not want to preserve itself. It wants to expand, to discharge its strength, to become more than it is. Life is that which must constantly overcome itself.
This fundamental striving, this impulse to grow, to dominate, to overcome, does it have a name?
It is the will to power. It is the engine of all reality. Everything you do, from writing a poem to building an empire, from an act of kindness to an act of cruelty, is this will finding a voice.
Will to power. The words are chilling. They speak of tyrants, of cruelty and control over others.
That is its most primitive, most pathetic form. A will so weak it must feed on others. I speak of something nobler. The highest will to power is turned inward. It is self-overcoming. To conquer the chaos within you, to discipline your own passions, to carve your own character out of the raw stone of your being. That is power.
So, self-doubt, procrastination, the fear that holds me back.
It is the will of the weaker part of you winning a battle, the part that loves the cage. Every time you choose comfort over growth, that part becomes stronger. Every time you face a fear, no matter how small, you feed the master within you. To become great is to wage war on your own weakness, to create your own values, your own law. Not to be a sheep following the morality of the herd, but to be a creator, a lion.
This path you describe, it's lonely. It promises no final peace, no heaven, only a constant, unending struggle.
Of course, do you think greatness is comfortable? The secret for harvesting the greatest enjoyment from existence is this: to live dangerously. Build your cities on the slopes of Vesuvius. Send your ships into uncharted seas. You must learn to love your fate, not just to bear what is necessary, but to love it, to see the beauty in the struggle, the necessity in the pain, to look upon your life with all its mistakes and suffering and say, "Thus I willed it."
You speak of being a creator, a lion. But how does a spirit so used to carrying the weight of others' values become a lion? What is this transformation?
The spirit must undergo 3 metamorphoses. First, the spirit becomes a camel. The camel is the beast of burden. It kneels to be well loaded. It takes upon itself the heaviest words, "Thou shalt." This is the spirit of obedience, of carrying the weight of duty, tradition, and morality imposed by others. It is a necessary stage, a test of strength and patience. But the camel, having carried its load into the desert, finds the loneliness to transform. In the loneliest desert, the second metamorphosis occurs. The spirit becomes a lion. The lion must seize freedom for itself. It fights the great dragon named Thou Shalt. This dragon represents all the values that have ever been created. The lion's sacred no is a rebellion against these external commands. It wants to create its own values, not merely obey them. But what can the lion do that the camel cannot? If it can only say no, how does it create? For that, my friend, a final metamorphosis is needed. The lion must become a child. The child is innocence and a forgetting, a new beginning, a game, a self-propelled wheel, a first movement, a sacred yes. The child creates its own will, its own world. It doesn't just reject, it affirms. It creates new values out of its own joyful, innocent power. This is the stage of the true creator, the overman. The Overman, this sounds like a destination, a final form. Is this the end of the struggle? Not an end, but a new way of being. The Overman is not a static goal, but a perpetual process of self-creation. Think of it as a bridge, not a destination. It is the ideal that pulls humanity forward. The struggle does not end, it transforms. Instead of a battle against external morality or internal weakness, it becomes a joyful affirmation of life's eternal recurrence. To will one's own life, with all its pain and joy, to repeat for eternity, that is the ultimate expression of the will to power. And if we can do this, if we can win this war inside ourselves and learn to love the struggle, what do we become? You become how you are.